It's strange, isn't it? How silence becomes louder when you've spent a lifetime surrounded by voices, rehearsed lines, laughter from audiences, words that were never quite your own. Now, when I sit by the window in the mornings, the world feels quieter, almost tender, almost forgiving. My name is Prunella Scales. Or rather, it was when the name still meant something in the theatres of London or in the dimly lit sets of British television. People used to know me as Sybil Fawlty, the sharp-tongued wife with perfect timing. But behind that laughter was a woman always afraid. Afraid the next role might not come. Afraid she might be forgotten. Afraid of losing the one thing that made her feel alive: performance. I often think about beginnings, that young girl in Surrey, bright-eyed, fragile, restless. Back then, life felt like an open stage, and I was desperate to step into the light. My parents wanted me to be sensible, but my heart pulsed to a different rhythm, the heartbeat of theatre. There was something intoxicating about the smell of old curtains, dust, and the quiet hum before a performance began. That was where I learned to breathe. I didn't want fame, not really. I wanted to belong to a story, to a character, to an audience that looked back and saw something real. And so I became everyone except myself. My first stage felt impossibly large. The lights blinded me. The applause terrified me. But when I spoke my lines, trembling, heart pounding, something inside me ignited. It was as if I had found the secret language of existence. Acting wasn't pretending for me. It was truth, disguised as fiction. I remember the long train rides to auditions. I'd press my forehead against the glass, watching the countryside roll by like a moving film, whispering lines under my breath. Sometimes people stared, but I didn't care. Every rejection felt like a wound, but also like proof that I was alive. I kept telling myself, "You're getting closer, Prunella. Just keep going." There were years of small parts, forgettable names, brief appearances, polite claps that meant little. But every moment on that stage was oxygen. Then came the roles that began to matter, the faces that recognized mine, the letters from strangers who said, "You made me laugh when I needed it most." That was my reason. But I was never alone on this journey. There was Timothy, my partner, my anchor, my contradiction. He was already a respected actor, wise, patient, infuriatingly calm when I was tempestuous. We met in a rehearsal room, exchanging polite lines at first, then words that dug deeper. He saw something in me, something I didn't yet see in myself. And I, foolishly, fell in love with the steadiness of his voice. We married in 1963. Two actors trying to build a life between scripts, stages, and sleepless nights. The irony was that we both spent our days pretending to be other people, while trying to hold on to who we really were. There were fights, of course. There always are when two souls are too alike, both craving attention, both terrified of being forgotten. But through it all, Timothy was my compass. Even now, when my memory frays, his name is the one thing that remains steady.
Fame doesn't arrive with a trumpet blast. It creeps in quietly through the side door of recognition. And when Fawlty Towers came into my life, it felt like a storm. I can still see that set, The absurd chaos of Basil and Sybil, the laughter that rolled through the studio like a living thing. John Cleese, brilliant and maddening, had this unrelenting energy. We argued terribly. But it worked. That tension, that rhythm, it made us real. People adored Sybil, her wit, her venom, her sharpness. They saw her as the perfect foil to Basil's madness. But what they didn't see was how exhausted I was trying to be perfect. Comedy is cruel. It demands precision, every pause, every breath calculated. Behind the laughter, I felt hollow sometimes, as though I had left parts of myself scattered in every scene. I would come home late, remove my wig, and stare into the mirror. Who was I when the cameras stopped? Was I Sybil, the woman they loved to quote? Or was I just Prunella, the quiet girl who once whispered her lines to train windows? There's a strange loneliness in success. When people know your face, but not your silence, your pain becomes invisible. They imagine your life is golden because you made them laugh. But laughter, my dear, is often born from sadness. For years, I wore that mask willingly. I smiled through interviews, told charming stories, performed gratitude like another role. And yet, when the spotlight dimmed, I felt a weight pressing on my chest. The fear that this was all fleeting, that tomorrow they'd forget me. Timothy tried to remind me of what truly mattered: our sons, our home, our quiet dinners after rehearsals. But I was addicted to the applause. I needed it like air. And that was the beginning of my undoing.
You never notice the first crack. It's small, almost invisible. A forgotten line, a misplaced prop, a moment of blankness that you brush aside. But then, one day, it's there, staring back at you, reminding you that time has begun its cruel work. I remember the first time I forgot a line on stage. It was a simple one, just a few words, but they slipped away like mist. I covered it well. Years of training make that second nature. The audience never noticed, but I did, and the terror that followed was like nothing I'd felt before. I told myself it was stress, fatigue, overwork, but in the quiet, after curtain call, I would sit in the dressing room staring at my reflection, trying to recall the face I'd worn for decades. Was this what getting old felt like? No one prepares you for that moment when the mind, the very tool of your art, begins to betray you. Timothy saw it before I did. He would pause mid-sentence when I lost track of thought. He'd smile gently, pretend it was nothing, but I saw the flicker of worry in his eyes. Our sons noticed too, though they tried to hide it behind jokes and affection. There's something profoundly cruel about losing yourself while the world still remembers who you were. I could see myself fading, not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually, like the slow dimming of a theater light before it goes black. At first, I thought it. I read scripts aloud, did memory exercises, refused to admit weakness. But denial is just another costume, and eventually even that no longer fits. I once said that acting was truth disguised as fiction. Now I understand life is fiction disguised as truth. We perform roles, even when we think we're being real. We smile when we want to cry. We say we're fine when the walls inside us are crumbling. And when the final curtain begins to fall,
you realize you were never in control of the script.
There are mornings when I wake up and look around a familiar room that somehow feels unfamiliar. The sunlight slips through the curtains, soft as a memory, and yet I can't quite tell where I am. The names of those I love hover somewhere in the fog. I reach out to hold them, but they dissolve before I can catch them. Alzheimer's. Such a cold word. A word I once heard spoken about others, never thinking it would belong to me. When the doctor said it, I smiled politely, convinced he must be mistaken. After all, I could still remember my favorite poem. I still knew Timothy's face. I still recalled every line of Sybil Fawlty. But the disease doesn't come like a storm. It creeps in, quietly, thread by thread, pulling at the fabric of who you are. At first, I hid it. The actress in me knew how to play the role of being fine. I laughed when I forgot things. I made jokes when I lost track. But Timothy knew. Of course he did. He never made me feel ashamed. He would just take my hand and say, "Don't worry, Nella. We'll walk through this together." I've always hated pity, but in his voice, there was no pity, only love. Simple, patient, unwavering. And now I see it clearly. That was the greatest performance of my life, being his wife. In the years that followed, my world grew smaller. The stage became a room. The spotlight turned into a gentle morning light. My audience, a handful of loved ones, still smiling even when I could no longer recall their names. Sometimes, when everything slipped too far away, I would hear my own voice whisper inside me, "Don't forget who you are, Nella. Don't let your memories disappear without saying goodbye." But memory is a tender traitor. It doesn't steal everything at once. It takes small pieces, little by little, just enough for you to feel the loss. I used to believe regret was weakness, that strong people simply moved forward without looking back. But as the days grew quieter, I began to understand something deeper. Regret is proof that we have loved. I regret the days I was too busy to call an old friend. I regret not holding my sons longer when they were young. I regret the nights Timothy wanted to talk while I buried myself in scripts. I regret chasing perfection in a world that never really cared if I reached it. I traded too much for the light of the stage. But every light fades, only love remains. Now, sitting in the silence of my later years, I finally see it clearly. Fame is an illusion, but memories of love are the only truth that lasts. One night, I asked Timothy, "Does it make you sad knowing I might forget everything?" He smiled, brushed a strand of hair from my face, and said, "I'll remember for both of us, Nella." I cried, not from fear, but from the realization that I had never truly known the depth of love until my memory began to leave me. When you start to forget, you don't just lose the past, you lose the many versions of yourself. The dreaming girl, the fearless woman, the mother, the wife, they all drift away one by one. And then there's only you, bare, fragile, silent. But perhaps in that emptiness, I found something I never had before: peace. It's strange, but Alzheimer's taught me something that a lifetime of acting never did. How to let go of the roles
and simply be. No more scripts, no more directors, no more audience. Just me, breathing quietly through the rhythm of what remains. For the first time, I wasn't anyone else. I was simply Prunella, a woman who had loved, laughed, fallen, and was now learning how to say goodbye. Timothy still reads poetry to me in the evenings. His voice sounds just the same, warm, steady, alive. Once he read to me, "We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep." And I smiled. Yes, perhaps I have been living inside my own dream, one filled with laughter, tears, applause, and quiet moments in between. And if this is the moment I must wake, then I will smile unafraid.
If this is the last time my mind is clear enough to speak, I want to say this. To those who have loved me, watched me, and laughed with me, do not live your life performing the version of yourself you think others expect. Do not wait until memory fades to realize that the smallest moments, a shared meal, a hand held, a grateful look, a gentle laugh, are the ones that truly matter. I used to fear being forgotten. Now, I only hope to be remembered as someone who lived honestly, even if only for a brief moment between two acts of the play. If you're listening to me now, remember this. None of us truly disappear. We only change forms, from memory to breath, from laughter to echo. And as long as someone, somewhere, remembers you with love, you are still alive. Now, as the evening shadows fall and silence embraces me, I am not afraid. I close my eyes and hear the soft rhythm of my heart merging with the whisper of the wind. I see Timothy's face, the smiles of our children, the glow of the stage one last time. And I whisper, barely audible, "Thank you. Thank you for listening to my story." Then silence. Not the silence of endings, but the silence of peace.